Let me get this out of the way first. I wasn't a very big fan of the first Bad Company. The destructible environments were nice and all, but I still felt like the campaign was dull and the humor was forced. Enter Bad Company 2, the latest in a long line of shooters from DICE. Of course, multiplayer has always been the star of the Battlefield branded games, but let's talk first about the campaign. After an interesting introduction, you're immediately reunited with the characters from the first game. Thankfully, they're a lot less annoying this time around.
I can't believe you're leading us through another minefield, Haggett.
The plot is your typical action film fare here. You need to jump around the world to find a super weapon with awesome power, etc., etc. It may not be the most original concept, but it does set the stage well for some crazy amounts of action. DICE seems to have taken a cue from Modern Warfare 2 and tried for a very large and cinematic scope. Unfortunately, they don't quite nail it. The result is a tone that's a little unfocused. It's typical here to go from normal shooting to a tank mission to a UAV mission to a defend mission to an on-rails segment, all in rapid succession. All these segments are still fun, it just hurts the cinematic feel that it seems they're trying to go for. When everything is a high action sequence, there's very little tension building. And those brief moments of downtime are needed to add weight to the thrilling sections. On the plus side, this is a very good looking game. The draw distance is excellent and you're often treated to beautiful vistas. There are a good variety of locations and the Frostbite engine's environmental destruction is still very impressive. I did encounter a few weird issues like slow loads when new weapons are picked up in the 360 version, and the multiplayer interface isn't quite as polished as it could have been. It's pretty jarring to have a multiplayer match abruptly end right when the game is won. These aren't huge things, but they do affect the overall feel of the presentation. As far as shooters go, Bad Company 2 controls very well, no big surprise there. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of different types of missions available. Your character is apparently some kind of super Rambo soldier that can operate any vehicle and utilize any weapon. Particularly fun are the vehicle missions. Hopping in a helicopter with a lot of firepower never gets old. It's all good fun as long as you don't get worn out from the breakneck pace of everything. It should be noted that the game design is much more linear than its predecessor. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. It funnels you to the action and there are no moments where you feel like you're just wandering around in an empty field for no reason. Now, while the campaign is solid, it's not really worth the full price of the game. After all, it's relatively short at about 6 hours. However, there's multiplayer. As in typical Battlefield fashion, this is what will have you coming back to the game again and again, and it's a legitimate contender to Modern Warfare 2's throne. The multiplayer game will be familiar to a lot of people out there. You pick from a number of classes that have their own custom kits and then work towards unlocking better equipment and perks. Perks are new in this game and work pretty much like they do in Call of Duty, adding special abilities and equipment to your character as you unlock them. Of course, since this is Battlefield, certain perks are also tailored for vehicles too, which is a nice touch. The modes include squad-based deathmatch, rush mode where you attack and defend, and conquest, which involves capturing points and pushing across a map. The game supports up to 24 players and there's a nice variety in maps, which means you can have anything from a small squad-based deathmatch game all the way up to a giant epic battle, depending on what you're in the mood for. The thing that makes this game stand out is its reliance on team strategy. Squads are essential to the experience and you'll have to work together quite a bit. Since you can use your squad as a spawn point, you can instantly join the fight, eliminating the annoying downtime of running across a map to get into the action. The maps are very fun, and the fact that they're destructible offers a whole new dimension to the game. Cover can be completely destroyed and the map changes dramatically as you progress through a match. This is a fun change from the norm and it puts this game in a league of its own. If you're just buying Bad Company 2 for its single player, you might end up being disappointed. It's solid but not remarkable. However, if you're also interested in team-based multiplayer, you'll probably have a blast here. Some presentation issues aside, Bad Company 2 is a much better game than its predecessor and a worthy online shooter. For the full written review, including more detailed info on the multiplayer modes, head over to IGN.com.